Hi friends, this is a look at the Lumibricks set number L9093 with 967 pieces. This is part of Lumibricks Street Fusion series. It says collectible lowrider and it has a name, Big Red. So this one is called Big Red. It is not minifigure scale, and it tells you non-minifigure scale, designed for collection. So this is a play and display model, but as far as putting minifigures in it, they're going to be wildly out of scale. It does include two minifigures. They look terrific for the theme, and one of them has a saxophone, and then there is this ruler, vertical ruler, like you see in lowrider hopping competitions to see how high you can get your front end with your hydraulics. And this is a kit that includes lighting. So it has 4 headlights that light up, and the wiring and the battery box are hidden on the bottom here. And it is powered by 2 CR2032 batteries. They're coin batteries like you put into the remote control of your key fob for your car. Very similar. It uses chrome as well as gold parts, and we'll take a look at those. Nothing else on the back really for this box. There's a lot of regulatory stuff. Taking a look at the side, you get a little bit more detail. The trunk, the hood do open, the doors do open. I love that gold steering wheel. I think that is really unique. The parts come in numbered bags. This is bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then there are 2 separate bags. One bag is called F. A lot of times this is functional or figures. I learned recently that these little characters they include have their own name. They're called Lumi Pals. And you have to put them together. The arms have to be put into the torsos, and then the hands have to be put into the arms, as well as the legs. The legs have to be put onto the hips, and then the hips into the torso. It can be a little bit harder for smaller children, or if you just have really big hands. Even for me, I don't have huge hands. It was still kind of difficult to assemble these, so that's something to know. The other thing that's in this bag are specialized pieces that help you route the wiring, such as these gray 1x1s. They let you route wiring so that the wiring doesn't get pinched, and so that the model can close and be tight without having to worry about the wiring. Here's the S bag. S bag, I'm gonna say, means specialty. In this case, we've got a lot of chrome parts in here. Look at that beautiful, like a 1x8 chrome tile. And then it has also these rubber bands in it, quite a few rubber bands. Looking through the instructions, it looks like these rubber bands are there to help you when you go and change the heights. It will spring into either the upright position or the lower positions and have a little bit of that quickness to it when you make those changes. And as far as I could tell, there is like a remote switch that causes it to lift up suddenly or collapse suddenly. Really brilliant. I think they've done a good job there, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. More chrome pieces in here. These are done a little bit differently. You can see on the bottom here, they're molded in silver, and then maybe these are painted. So these might be specialized because the chrome here is so much more bright. They're actually reflective, and you can see almost see yourself in them. So that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the gold parts. I saw a couple gold parts in here. Let's see if we can find them. Or find that steering wheel. I even found a gold steering wheel. I don't see them just yet. I'm sure they'll come up. Here's one of the wheels. Here are the tires. I think these are fairly standard tires. It's good that they chose these low profile ones. And here's some more parts, you know, fairly standard bricks, some Technic type pieces as well. The smaller pieces seen here, unusual colors, but for the most part, these are compatible with Lego. So if you wanted to add to it with your own pieces, you can. In my experience building Lumibricks, they rarely are missing parts, and they give you just enough spare parts for you to work with. Here's a couple of the gold pieces. I think these go in the engine bay for detail there. They're really pretty well done. All right, some of the red. More of the red. There's a lot of red. The red color here is really close match to Lego's red. It might be identical to Lego's red. Lumibricks does have this unusual piece, these snot pieces, brackets. They do these extra little like notches in them, and I think those notches are there in case they want to run wiring through them. It's ready to go, and you don't need to pull it from a different bag. So I think that's what they're doing there. Aha, found it. Here is that steering wheel. This guy right here is worth the price of admission. It's such a cool gold steering wheel. And then here's a printed, I want to say that's a tile there. So that might be, I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's a detail on the back, or maybe gas cap or something inside the motor engine bay. Yeah, so interesting stuff in here. Look at that. There's an antenna piece that's also silver. I haven't seen that before. So some unique pieces in here, but for the most part, these are just going to be your standard Lego compatible pieces. And before we look at the lighting kit, we'll look at the instructions. Here's your instruction book, a good thick book, matte finish on the front. And they tell you a little bit about this model. Here's the service card, by the way. They always include one of those because they care that you have a good build experience. And it has a paragraph here about the lowrider culture and their sort of the inspiration behind this particular model. And they've used very Los Angeles colors, palm trees, things like that to help reinforce it. So that's something I love about Lumibricks, is they seem to immerse themselves in the subject matter. They don't just build it based on sort of a superficial understanding of the subject matter. Rather, they get into it. They understand what makes the soul of that creation unique, and then they try to recreate it in brick form. So I do appreciate that. A drawing here. It mentions that this is an approximate 1:17 scale model. So we now know that. I'm not sure what's going on here. It sounds like they're saying that this the blower or supercharger is removable. That might be what they're saying. They have some information about the lighting, how the lighting works. Oh, and here's an overview, excuse me, of all the parts that it comes with. So you get these 4 light bricks that are the headlights in bag 1. You get the USB adapter, and then you get this tiny little coupler. We'll look at that in a second. In the second bag, you get the battery box. That's where the 2 batteries go, and you get a little screwdriver to open that battery box. And the battery box has a screw and is closed up with a screw just by law. That's just required for toys. And then they have different languages, and then they jump right in to the instructions. And you can see there's quite a bit going on here. There's these axles, there's gears, there's rubber bands. So that's what makes me believe that they've really thought through making it a punchy, poppy action feature. When you go to lower it or raise it, I'm expecting that it's going to pop a little bit and then kind of jump into position. So I mean, look at that. They've thought about this. And looks like that's the remote kind of trigger for it, and it's probably built up on top of it so that you can activate it kind of removed from the actual mechanism, which makes that even more fun when it's remote like that. The instructions are very well paced, which is the standard for Lumibricks. Usually not too many pieces or parts per step. So I really appreciate that. Sometimes their step is all about where to put the wire next so that you don't trap the wire somewhere. So they really do think about the build experience, especially making sure that getting the wiring in there is as successful as possible for you. And let's see, as far as the colors go, very easy to tell the difference between a dark gray, brown, and then dark red. So that's great. The colors here are not going to be frustrating. They're not going to be an issue as you're going through trying to figure out what you're trying to do and which color you need to grab. And then the seats, they're built up. They're quite large there, and looks like they have hinges on them so that they might be able to recline slightly. I think that's good. You know, you always want to be able to recline the seats a little. Aha, so those little printed pieces, they go in the dash. That's where they go. So they were actually vents in the dash. And there's even a like AM radio, some type of radio in there, a couple dials. Nicely done. Windshield is pretty big windshield that might have been introduced with Lego's Mini Cooper, the big green one that they had. Here's a look at the minifigs, and it looks like this measurement scale is transparent, and they might actually be asking you to put Lowrider. Oh yeah, look at that. This is a tile that's printed. It says Lowrider. You're supposed to put it in there, and then you just encapsulate it, and boom, it just rattles around in there. I mean, I love that they thought of that. They said, you know what, that's what we're going to do. It doesn't have to make sense, but we don't need to follow any specific rules. All right, so there's the remote trigger. You press down on the blower, and then it activates the wheels coming down and giving it that higher height up in the front. And then it looks like the back is also adjustable. Hey, look at that. And it has a California style license plate that says Big Red. So the back also comes out, so you can change the height in the back. So it looks like it's completely independent. There you go. And it shows you how to push it back up into the chassis if you need to. Look how far you can push that in there. It's really tucked. I like that a lot. Yeah, so just really terrific. They've thought about it. Here is a better picture showing you the scale difference, right? So these are quite small. If they were to actually be able to drive this, they probably need to be at least twice as tall, maybe a little bit taller, and then has some of the things from their other Street Fusion as well as Steampunk World. So lots to look at here, lots to like, and then you can also get a PDF version if needed. All right, let's look at the light kit. So it comes in this own little box, comes in 2 little bags. Bag 1, let's take a look at what's inside bag 1. Bag 1 is a USB cable, and it has a little connector on it, and then it has the 4 lights and also has a connector, and then it looks like a little jumper. So the 2 connectors I just showed you go into this, and then that extends it. And this might be an adhesive piece. I've seen that before, where you stick it down and then that helps manage the wiring. Inside bag 2, you get a screwdriver for the battery box, and you get the battery box. So I'm assuming that, oh, so maybe you can power it off USB if you'd like to, or you can get these and plug them straight into this battery box. And I did see where it goes. The battery box actually gets built into the bottom of it, and you can see here it has studs so that you can attach it. It's meant to be built into your model, which is really great. And then has an on-off switch right there at the top. Screwdriver, and then recently, the last couple of Lumibricks models I got, they come with a nice set of tweezers, and these are metal matte finish tweezers. And the reason they give these to you is so that you can safely pull those little connectors out of whatever hub or coupler or whatever you've got going on without accidentally pulling the wiring out of the little connectors. So I appreciate that they do that. So you're grabbing the little white piece right here. You're grabbing that as you're pulling it out, and you're not just yanking on the wire. If you do that, you'll probably break it. So maybe they realize it's cheaper for them to include tweezers than for them to keep responding to angry emails of people saying my lighting kit doesn't work and I don't know why. So that's probably what they did. So it's wonderful. I mean, Lego and brick builders, You never can have enough tweezers. It comes in handy when you drop a part in just that little right spot. It's great to have tweezers to help you get them. All right, so that's a look at the Lumibricks Big Red. If you could like this video, maybe subscribe to the channel. That will help me out a lot. I super duper appreciate it. All right, I'm going to build it. And so when you subscribe, you'll be able to see when I've built it and we'll play with it. All right, thank you very much.